YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with our Week 5 NFL bold prediction sent in by you guys through our Twitter. If you want to play along and get more NFL content and live updates, make sure you follow that Twitter. There's a link down in the comment section. Other links down there that could be useful. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Full NFL coverage, weekly picks, power rankings, and more. Always adding more as well. So join us for all that. Be much appreciated. Yeah, a lot of NFL news going on right now. Surprisingly, Calvin Ridley is not going to be traveling to London and he won't play. We were talking about that on Twitter. So there's always NFL news to cover. So make sure you check that out. Bold predictions. Let's just get started right off the bat here with little CD burner. Diggs picks off Daniel Jones twice for 7 interceptions in 5 games. So yeah, Trevor Diggs playing out of his mind right now. He's got at least 1 interception in every single game. And he's been lights out. So let's see if he he's got to get 2 picks here. It still is at least 1 interception every game. It seems like it's likely, but to do it again, I know it's Daniel Jones. He's been playing pretty well, actually. I'm not even going to put piping. I'm going to put hot. I'm going to say he gets an interception. So if this said he gets 1 interception, I think we'd be talking about realistic. I still think this is pretty hot, but yeah, I'm curious to see if he can continue to pick it up, continue to keep it up, really, because he's been ridiculous. 1 interception at least in every single game, playing like the best corner. Second year guy playing like the best corner in football right now. Next up, we got from Owen. I like the first part of this. This is kind of a 2-parter. Pats use this matchup to see what Mac Jones can do. Not protecting him, I think he means, just not dumping the ball off, quick plays to make sure he has, it doesn't come down to him having time, come down to him getting hurt or making wrist throws down the field. So that's what he means by that. And then he got specific with the stats here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm kind of just focusing on the first part of this. That's what I liked about this was they kind of unleash him, I guess. They finally unleash Mac Jones, and now's the opportunity because they play the Texans. And I was originally thinking, yes, this is what they're going to do for sure this week. It's about that time, even though they haven't done it. Playing the Texans, beat-up team, not playing too well. It's a good time, not in the rain like last week. But now, looking at probably 3 starting offense linemen are going to be out. 1, Trent Brown due to injury. We'll see. And then 2 due to being on the COVID list, which is Michael Onwenu and Isaiah Wynn, missing those guys could result in some poor protection, which could result in them kind of keeping it safe. So I put this right in the middle, warm, because again, I was leaning towards, they're going to unleash him this week, kind of what Owen's thinking here. They're going to unleash him, and it's going to be, fun to see. It's to be a good statement game, even though it's Texans. But again, with those injuries, and at the same time, they may feel like they can win just being conservative and playing defense. The more I'm talking, the more I'm leaning towards hot. Maybe change my mind here that they probably will just kind of keep it conservative. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm realizing that there's really no need to unleash him. But this would be a good game to give it a try. And I feel like the opportunities that Mac Jones has had to kind of throw the ball downfield, which has been limited, I think he's looked pretty damn good. So I hope they try to not play conservative, not play safe, kind of give him an opportunity to show what he's got. So it's definitely an interesting talking point for this week, something to look forward to. Chris, may not be crazy, but Josh Gordon's first game active, 100-plus yards and a touchdown. So Josh Gordon recently signed with the Chiefs. They plan to play. It came out last week that he's a while away from being ready and playing. And now all of a sudden the second week he's going to play. So I thought that was kind of weird. I guess ahead of schedule here. It could be to maybe throw off the Bills. I don't know if that really changes game plan now, but maybe the Bills we got to watch out for this guy now because he's playing. Maybe it could be that, and maybe he's not going to be playing all that much. I think that's pretty piping, to be honest. That's tough, though, because if he is out there, really what it comes down to is how many snaps he plays. If he's out there and he plays a good amount of snaps, this is not piping. He can definitely do that because the focus is going to be on, of course, Tyreek Hill mainly, and then Travis Kelce, and Edwards-Helaire's been picking it up. So, and that's going to open things up for Gordon to have a pretty good game. But I'm kind of leaning towards he doesn't get a whole lot of snaps, because they did say he was a ways away from being ready. Of course, he's ahead of schedule, but I don't think they play him a whole bunch. But if they do, this is very realistic. I just don't see it, but it should be a high-scoring game, a fun game at home against the Buffalo Bills there. Can't wait for that one Sunday night. Justin Fields gets benched for Andy Dalton during this game. That would be bad if that happened. I'm gonna say, okay, if injuries don't count, I don't plan on him getting hurt, but just gets straight up benched. That's the only thing that counts here. I'm going to say piping. I think even if he's playing bad, I don't think they take him out because that'd be pretty bad. I think if they have to bench Justin Fields, that's going to hurt him, his confidence, and the fans are going to have a big problem with that. I just don't see that happening. I think they're going to even if he's struggling, which I'm not necessarily predicting, I still think they kind of keep him in there. And maybe just, I think we talked about this in the past with some other rookie quarterbacks, you're better off in, not getting his confidence down, keep him in there, and maybe just getting, hey, the game's over. Let's just be conservative here now. The game's over. Let's not try to force anything. Let's run the ball. If that happens, if they have to get to the point to bench him, I feel like the game has to be pretty much over. So you might as well just shut things down there without benching him, if you get what I mean there. So I think it's pretty piping. That'd be very bad if that happened. Giovanni Havenstein, Bills defense holds the Chiefs to less than 21 points. It's definitely interesting because the Bills defense been playing like maybe the best in football, definitely up there. So this is what if they hold. I'm still gonna go piping on this, but it's definitely an interesting topic here because what if the Bills did this? We would be definitely worried about the Chiefs because we're already worried about the defense, but more so thrilled, pumped, hyped about the Bills defense. So that'd be a big statement. But I think, it's one of those where I'm going to go piping, but it's somewhat possible here. 21's too low. If you said 24, that might have been a better one. I think they scored more than 24. I had them Chiefs winning, scoring 33. But that would have been a little more interesting because even if they struggle and the Bills are beating them up and they control most of the game, I still think the Chiefs score more than 21 points, or at least that, So I think that's another one that's kind of piping there. Ryan Harmsey, Sam Darnold becomes the first ever quarterback to rush for multiple rushing touchdowns in 3 consecutive games. So he's got to run for multiple touchdowns, and that'll be 3 weeks where in that game he ran for multiple rushing touchdowns. He already had the record for most touchdowns within the team's first 4 games. He actually beat that, which is surprising and impressive. So basically, for this bold prediction to happen, two or more rushing touchdowns for Sam Darnold. Eagles defense has been struggling. They did play the Chiefs last week, though. 2. I think he gets. In my prediction, I think he gets 1 rushing touchdown. The difference between 1 and 2 for another week, I do think, even though it's 1 is the difference, I think it's kind of a lot. I'm going to say hot. I'm not going to say piping because he continues to do it. I think it's possible against the Eagles defense without Christian McCaffrey. We think there was some reports that he's getting closer to being going, but I'm thinking it's possible because of those things, but I just don't see 2 again. I'm thinking 1. My prediction will be 1, so therefore this will be hot. But I'm kind of close to going warm here because, again, they like calling those runs in the red zone. I think it's possible against the Eagles defense. I think he's gonna get the reps. So we'll see. Dylan Warner. Yeah, I was gonna stick with the first part of this because the second part is pretty damn piping, to say the least there. Second part. But first part, I liked all 5 first-round quarterbacks because they are all starting this week. All have rushing touchdowns this week. So all 5. So Trevor Lawrence versus Tennessee Titans. They've been running more read options there. Trevor Lawrence is an underrated, sneaky good runner. Very, very doable there. Zach Wilson, he's athletic. He is playing the worst defense in football, scoring defense. It's possible, definitely more of a long shot than Trevor Lawrence. And then you got Trey Lance, very possible. I think the key for them is going to be to try to run and control the clock against the Cardinals, run Trey Lance, kind of throw the Cardinals defense off. That is very possible right there with Trevor Lawrence. It's probably more possible than Trevor Lawrence. Then you look at Justin Fields, his running ability. I think he's right there with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence probably more likely, even though Fields is a more athletic, faster. I think it's right there. It's very possible. And then Mac Jones versus the Texans. Mac Jones almost in the same boat is Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson probably more likely. But all five have to do it. I was originally going to say hot, but I think it's piping the more I think about it. I wish actually this said Lawrence, Lance, and Fields run for a touchdown. All three have to run for a touchdown. I would actually say it's pretty damn realistic. I don't know if would I say it's happening. I may actually say that's happening. I'm gonna say what's happening for sure is Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance run for a touchdown. I think those guys run for a touchdown. Fields, I'm kind of thinking it's very close to happening there. So that would have been a good one. Another good one would have been both Zach Wilson and Mac Jones rush for touchdowns. That's a little hotter, but more realistic maybe than all of them. That's tough. That's a good one. It's a good one to think about there for sure. Next part was 15-plus touchdowns total. That's quite a bit there. Asking a lot of these rookie quarterbacks. Mark Gurns, Ravens don't get 100 yards rushing. So they broke that record. That whole controversy that they shouldn't have ran another play. They ran another play to get that record because they weren't about to get it against the Broncos, but they did it. Very impressive. I didn't really have a problem with them doing that. At the same time, I guess I understand, one extra play could lead to injury, but you just let them get the yards right about. So that's a whole different debate. But now they play the Colts on Monday night. This is a tough one because the Colts, look at last year, one of the very best, I actually say top two in terms of stopping the run. And they did play pretty well against the Ravens last year. So looking at last year, very, very possible. This year, the Colts have not been the same stopping the run. I think they're getting there, and they probably will get there. I believe, top of my head, they allow around 114 yards per game. So that's pretty close, actually, to the 100. But basically, last year, they were allowing under 100 for sure. And Lamar Jackson's a different animal. But they were actually, last year they game planned correctly. It's the same staff for the most part, the same players. They're a little more beat up. So for this bold prediction to come true, the Ravens don't get 100 yards. That's tough. I'm going to say hot. It's definitely not piping because the Colts, I'm confusing myself here. Ravens don't get 100 yards. I think they will get 100 yards. So I'm predicting them to get 100 yards, and I think it's very likely here. The Colts can stop the run, so they can possibly hold them from under 100 yards. But it's the Colts don't really – I think they're getting there, but they don't really feel the same as last year. I think the Ravens I'm almost kind of gearing towards warm here the more I talk about it. I think they're gonna get over 100. I think it's barely gonna be over 100. That's kind of my prediction there. So, and we're kind of came to expect this for them to get it. So we'll see. Maybe the Colts that win, that's what they needed to kind of get back on track, kind of look more like last year's Colts. I think more pressure's on their offense though. So that's a good one. I like that one a lot. Definitely interesting. We'll see if the Colts can pull it off. I think being in Baltimore makes it a little easier for the Ravens there in prime time. Trey Lance goes for 100 yards plus rushing as the 49ers beat the Cardinals. I kind of like the first part of this because it's kind of a two-parter, 100 yards and the 49ers going to beat the Cardinals. I picked the Cardinals. That's why I don't really like ones like that that this team beat that team because I kind of have my picks already. So let's focus on the first part of this. We kind of can add the second part at the same time. I picked the Cardinals, but I will say if the 49ers beat the Cardinals, let's say that happened, and I had to predict, I missed the game, I had to predict how that happened. I'd say they came out pounding the football, and they controlled the clock, didn't allow the Cardinals to get in their groove, and this is a possible scenario. The Cardinals are favorites for a reason here. I picked them for a reason, but this is a possible scenario where the 49ers win because they controlled the clock and the ground. They wore out the team. They kept Cardinals offense on the sideline watching more than they're used to, kind of got them iced a little bit. I think that is all very possible, and Trey Lance running for 100 yards is still a lot, though. It's still a lot, but him running for a good amount of yards, maybe a touchdown or two, is very possible in that scenario. I'm still gonna say hot. especially if you put these together. That's a tough one, though, because, again, the 49ers, even though I didn't pick it, and most people aren't picking it, it's possible they beat the Cardinals, and if they do, it's going to be because of crazy run game, but Lance still has to get over 100 yards at the same time. So that's what makes it tough. It's I like the ones that are interesting to think about here. It's definitely something we got to wait and see. It could happen, but I'm going to say hot. Last run from Andy Kreuzinger. Urban Meyer goes 2 for 6 at the bar on Monday night. This one's got piping written all over it because Urban Meyer is, if he's that guy's something. He's got a problem if he's at the bar again on Monday night. He's got a problem. Or Sunday night, whatever it is. So I think he's going to be under good watch here, secured watch. He won't be allowed at the bar. I don't think he'll choose to go there anyways. And and even more so why this is piping, is if he did go to the bar, I think he'd be better than 2 for 6. I think we'd be looking at 5 at worst, maybe 6 for 6. I try to do that all with a straight face. That's a good one, though. I like it. But that wraps up this week's bold prediction. Thanks, everyone, for playing along. Appreciate everyone sending in their bold prediction. I kind of just skim through and find ones that stand out here every single week. All kinds of content on the channel. Check it out. All of it is there for week 5. We're ready. Thursday Night Football tonight. We'll have you covered. Rams, Seahawks. We'll have you covered on Twitter. So check that out. Link in the comments section. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Much appreciated. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.